Good morning. How's everybody doing? Oh, hair's not right with the headphones. Let's adjust that first. There we go. It'll do. Right. How's everybody doing? Who's here? Who forgot? Hi T, how you doing? Top of the morning. I like it. How's the music going since yesterday? What you been working on? I just assume everybody works on music every day like me, so don't worry if you haven't. Excellent. So, I had a good musical day yesterday. Like doing party at Tim's house. This is my kind of party. Yeah. Just getting my other blue lights on there. Yeah, I had a good day of music yesterday. It was excellent in terms of playing. So it really kind of helps me out doing these. Actually, when I start talking about guitars and playing guitars and demonstrating things, I do get clarity in my own playing. Tried exploring the C Lydian. Going to have to explore it much more, partly at Tim's. Yeah, fair enough. You're welcome. One thing I will say though, when you're thinking about modes on a guitar, really it's only one scale, right? It's one scale in terms of the physical fingerings, right? And with that, you get, whether you relate your modes to minor or the natural minor or the major. Technically, we'll stick with the major because that's kind of how people tend to teach it. When you you learn those fingerings across the fretboard. I don't know if you know this, but you technically get the other 6 scales or the modes for free. So the only bit we need to learn is just to ear train. So that's like one of the good things, It's interesting. I mean, like modes and scale sounds can define artists in a way. Like Yumi Malmsteen always uses Phrygian and natural minor as well as like blues scale and maybe a bit of Dorian. Joe Satriani and Steve Vai have been known for their Lydian playing. So an interesting area, and of course you get all the if you want to progress from there, you've also got all of the melodic minor modes, which I must admit I don't bother with much, probably because I haven't grown up yet. All right, who else is here? Who else is lurking? So another thing I got actually the other day, because it was highly recommended, was this book, The Advancing Guitarist, by Mick Goodrick. So I've only just started looking at it yesterday, to be honest. I've had it a few weeks. But I was just watching a few sort of people talking about it and reviewing it, and it does sound like excellent, and it's been suggested a number of times to me to get it. So it just gives you like lots of different, like really interesting concepts, both how to physically play the guitar and how to theoretically approach it. It's got dead practical things like improvising on one string, and if you do that, you can basically see the notes like a piano. Alright, so the Lydian didn't come on until I started to learn So What Miles Davis, then the Dorian really jumped out. Okay. Cool. Right, hopefully this is working. Better tune. Oh, it's loud. Playing all the wrong notes. But warming up. Hey, there's Magnador. How you doing? Good to see you. This is excellent. Something heavy. So today what we're going to do is I've got my template, my guitar template that I use to write music really, really quick. Usually with other band, Freakstar. And Magnador has a wonderful band, black metal band. He's a great writer. And we collaborated. And I think, well, we talked about this before. So Magnador, I don't know if you were aware of this, but actually on previous streams, the collaboration track we did was all written live on here. So I wrote all the music whilst people were in the studio, watching me in the studio here, actually make that track. So, and this is what I do. I do a lot of my music making just live, So the majority of it, was done here. Which was great. Whilst people watched and said, maybe do this, Tim, try that. It was cool. But today, what we're doing is I've been talking about guitars for the last sort of week, and like sort of my approach to improvisation and playing and all that sort of good stuff. But it's been, relatively heavy going the last few days. Oh, there's Gramps. Hi, Gramps. How you doing? Gramps, I need to get my eyes tested. I've been confusing you with T. Orinoa. Right, I'm going to move my main screen here over to here so I can see. Do you find teaching helpful to your playing? Yes, I think it's really good. I think it is definitely helpful, and I use it as a technique. So sometimes I'll kind of break things down and I'll teach them, quite early on. So teaching them's really helpful. It's not the most helpful. The most helpful is, in terms of learning, is to just go out live and try and play something, and then collect the data, work out what's gone wrong, and then course correct. That's how I do it. Hi, Save Your Hearts, how you doing? Yeah, so that's a good question. So for me, it's all about, when we talked about zones of experience yesterday and that connection and what that connection is. And yes, teaching is one connection because you are playing in front of another person, you are demonstrating a concept, and it is helping you order your ideas. So that's one good thing, that's for. But then the real test is to actually go out and play in front of people, like do lives. I mean, lives and even sitting in front of your cameras, great sort of practice. But in particular, doing lives like this really kind of gets you sort of comfortable, but also it's a great way to test where you're at with your playing. Yeah. So today we're going to have a look at the template. So the template I use for guitars that are set up. It's a little bit of a story behind it, actually. So when I was when I'm coaching for the guy who coached me, Mike, I remember he had this course called Mastery, and we're all kind of like coaching on that, and it was sort of we're just kind of like chucked in the deep end actually with this thing, and it was really fun. And one of the things ideas that were explored were templates and this idea of beats plus 3. Some of you may have heard me talk about beats plus 3, but I think when it comes to template building, I see a lot of people who build a template in their DAW and they've literally got every plugin that they're probably not going to use in there, and what they tend to do is prepare themselves to address problems that they haven't had yet. Okay, and what this leads to is absolute overwhelm. The other thing about doing this is if you build a template that is too problem solving and too much ring fenced into one particular style or direction, what happens is then it becomes like a real cognitive load, and it also becomes sort of quite restrictive in what you're trying to do. So it almost gives you that convergent feeling of like you're finishing a track before you've even started it, and that's one of the worst things that I really hate. That goes alongside. It's a very similar feeling to when you write a piece of music and you've actually only wrote 8 to 16 bars of a piece of music, right? But then it sounds really good and you start actually mixing it. So effectively what you're doing is you're mixing divergent thinking with convergent thinking. So in other words, we're mixing that kind of like everything is possible sort of feeling. We can do whatever we want. We're being carefree. We're just throwing ideas together. We're not focused on quality, with quality judgments of like, this is going to get released. This has to be perfect, when we don't have perfection, by the way. And then when you start mixing that mindset with the first mindset of being carefree and just writing without judgment, it kind of everything becomes very tight and very restrictive, and you're in a situation where, wow, this 16 8-bar loop that I've got sounds perfect. Now I've got to be really careful with it. I've only got to do small tiny little tweaks as I go along, or I don't want to ruin it. And what inevitably happens is you listen to it too many times and you completely lose all objectivity, and tends to end up in the graveyard on your hard drive of tracks that aren't going to get done. I mean, it really is. It's like braking and accelerating at the same time when you start mixing those processes together. So this is one thing that by having an automatic music making machine, which is the system I use to write tons of music, completely helps you. Well, you avoid all of that. Okay, as long as you stick within the machine, you won't ever end up in those problems, and you'll actually make more music in less time, and way better in terms of its sound and its quality. Okay, and when I talk about quality judgments, okay, I'm not talking about really professional sounding crap music, because there's loads of that. what I'm talking about is really interesting, good music that says something that actually has a purpose. Because things don't have to sound absolutely amazing, but they will do, because what you'll do is the more music that you finish, the more practice you're getting at mixing and finishing songs, the better you're going to get at it. I remember about a year ago I did like an album sort of in 8 weeks on the lives, right? It was like as fast as that. There was something like 10 tracks that I did, and one of the things that I rapidly did that, because I was really testing out how quick the machine could be, was that what I was doing is I was doing this thing called turbo cycling, where you just do short sessions on a track. So I was doing like 10 minutes on a track, moving to the next track, doing 10 minutes on that in a particular creative section of the machine. So I might be doing, if I was like releasing a track and I was at the mixing stage, then I would just mix a track for 10 minutes and then put it at the bottom of this list of the album, and then get the next one up and mix that for 10 minutes and put that at the bottom. So you're constantly kind of mixing a different piece of music, and you're only really ever, because the shorter sessions and quite structured, you're only ever really addressing the problems that really, really do exist that you can actually hear. And you can just you can just fly through and make tons of music in a very, very short time. And I'm sure we all have, very busy lifestyles. And I think like the demographic on this channel is people from between the ages of like late 20s to sort of 50. So we're all probably very busy. So what else was I going to say? So yeah, so the idea is to have like a template that is simple but deep. Okay. We also wanted to think about the time like a unique instrument, that you wouldn't get bored of, that might define your style. And obviously, I went for a guitar, and the thing that I came up with was this guitar bass thing, and I'll show you it in a minute. Thirsty. Right. Let's have a look. Push the button. Oh, there we go. All right. Can we see the guitar okay? Oh, there we go. Tell you what, I'm just gonna pop in a little bit. How's that look? I need to go this way, don't I? Right. Okay. So here we have the template, and what a wonderful thing it is too. Let's go from the top. So we're thinking beats plus pre. Now what you got to remember is when you first start your template, you're only going to have a drum machine, okay? And you're only going to have like your bass, and then you're going to have something for chords and something for leads, and that is it, okay? And then what you're doing is every time you kind of write a piece of music on it, you're upgrading it, you're treating it like a band, and you're upgrading that band. Now for this, I've got into sort of live drums. So there's been electronic drums at one point, but what I did is I get good drums and kind of used a live kit. So I got into sort of live drums and sort of processing them and things. Now, one rule I have for my templates, right, is that I try to use only zero latency plugins. All right, so I only use that. Right, just remind myself what's here. Oh yeah, okay. And Slater zero latency. So we have drums. So I'm using Get Good Drums. There you go. Nice live kit sound. So on the bus we've got a bit of distressor. We've got some Neve, and then I've got a little bit of the custom on there. So sounding all very good. I'll tell you what, this room. Okay, then what I've got on each of these, so we've got Get Good Drums, right? And every single drum has basically is outputted into a channel, which has like an SSL 4KE on it. So that just makes it really handy to mix things. And what I've got is I've got like a high pass filter, so you can just clear up low end and stuff like very easily with that. Oh, Save Your Hearts, strong pulls. I like to do a light pull off, a brush. Like that can save my energy. All right. And then what we'll have, right, is I'll just go to the guitar bass because this was like the next sort of instrument that I sort of put in. Yeah, Sava featuring Prince. I love it. That's cool. Yeah, so the runs are nice, just pentatonic. That's that 3-1-3 thing I was showing everybody. Followed by a bit of chromatic-y blues, pentatonic, everything chucked in. Right, where was I? Yeah, so we've got the guitar bass. Got the drums. So it's really easy to get like a polished sound down now, isn't it? So, yeah, Rage Against the Machine. I'm liking all these influences. Go. All right. There we go. So it's very, I mean, there, like, that's a splurge. How long did that take? Apart from messing about with the solo, we've got something there, haven't we? That was an accident, that bit. Well, I'm starting to arrange now. Tell you what, let's have the bass on. I'm going to do something a bit jazzy. Okay. So as you can see, I'm like now jamming along and noodling and what have you. It's like a crazy reverb. So, here. Saviour, thanks for the lovely words there. Alright, so here's something really interesting which I think we need to discuss. It's the perfection word. The perfection word, right? I think it always worries me when people, because this is right. Tell me if I'm wrong here, Saviour. But from a music coaching point of view, and from like when I've coached people, and from myself, right? Perfectionism it can't exist. Okay, nothing can be perfect. I mean, having an idea of something that is objectively perfect is something you could potentially work towards. But for something to be perfect, right, everybody in the world, from every culture, race, and everywhere on the planet, of every age, would have to agree that that's perfect. That's a very difficult thing to do. But it's also an idea which can lead you to interesting places, objective perfectionism. I know the physicist David Deutsch has a wonderful lecture on why flowers are beautiful, because I think like there's something where I think most people will agree that some flowers are very beautiful. So potentially it could be possible, okay, to make music, but it wouldn't be this music, I don't think. It is possible to make something that is objectively perfect, in theory. It's not impossible, okay? But it's something we could work towards. And I know one of the interesting things about that idea of objective perfection, for me, was this idea of, based on like sort of what David Deutsch is talking about, and from me being trained as a coach, is this idea that you could achieve something like that, but the way to achieve it, right, there's two things that you have to have going, in my opinion, to do that. And one of them that's probably the most interesting is this idea that you describe music. Okay, you can pick a piece of music that you can describe, but then you get good at like explanation. So if you can, explain why a piece of music works, and the explanation is very, very difficult in regards to the human ear, right, and brain and psychology, and you can explain that, then what you actually end up with in an explanation, not a description, in an explanation, you end up with something that you can rinse and repeat. Okay, you end up with a model that you can use. If we're describing something, that's usually just to do kind of with the moment, and you don't necessarily get that. But if you delve down when you're analysing music, then you can kind of pull that and you can use that, and that's like one of the steps, I suppose, towards objective perfection. The other thing is actually just solving your problems on a consistent level through I have like a review system that I use called Wins Problems Opportunities. So by constantly reviewing yourself, by constantly sort of like looking at explanations, that's like one way that you can kind of incrementally move towards that. But really, in terms of how the majority perceive perfectionism, like I found it like a form of procrastination, because you can't have something perfect. And does that mean you hold it, because something's not perfect, does that mean you hold it back from the world? I think at the end of the day, perfectionism is a review on one's performance as opposed to what is actually happening in the music. And these are two entirely separate things. The music to me is, music is almost like it is a spiritual event. Okay, the music, once it comes out like that, now has its own life. That music's kind of come out of me, and to me, I'm listening to that music, and I'm playing to that music, and the question I'm trying to answer is what's the music asking me to do? And I'm playing things that I wouldn't, if I was being overthinky about it, um, I wouldn't be playing the things that I'm playing. What I'm doing is I'm playing what the music's telling me to play, and that's leading me down all kinds of interesting sort of avenues. But what isn't happening is that I'm not battling with thoughts and feelings about what I should be doing. So there's no I kind of involved in it. So this is a very, like, whenever I see the perfection word come up, it's a great opportunity to talk about this, because I think it's a really important thing. The sun doesn't let you down would be 110. So Saviour, it's an interesting thing that, the perfectionism thing, because I think at the end of the day, and I mean, we briefly touched on sort of how to review your music using the path system, but at the end of the day, the fundamental question is this music a good example of what it wants to be? And if it is, then you might as well let the world hear it. Really, it might as well, you might as well put it out there. I mean, my old band is like a ton of music that I'm releasing, and I'm not redoing it, and that's definitely not perfect, but it has a vibe and it's of a time, and I think that's more important. Though, because the other thing about perfectionism, is that you can remove the soul from your music as well, and you got to be careful about that when you make something perfect. I think it's very important that our music contains some sort of expressionism. We want to be saying something about ourselves, and none of us are perfect, so why should our music be? But interesting. What's the most awesome tempo? Alright, I'm pouring a coffee. I'm going to get back to work, don't worry. We've only just started with this. $117 BPM. I wonder why that would be the most perfect, the most awesome tempo. 75.38. Very interesting. I wonder why. Right, back here. Alright, so showing everybody this template. I mean, actually, it's not like the playing, we're getting absorbed into that, aren't we? So, as you can see, very quick to use. But what's interesting about this is what I've got set up. So here is the guitar bass, right? Now the guitar bass has a few things going on it. Basically in Ableton, I've got basically the guitar input comes in, and the first thing we've got is this fixed clip length. What this does is when I hit record, it punches me out after about 8 bars. So that's really handy. So I don't, unless I finish a bit short, I can just stop it by pressing enter on the keyboard, which was what I was doing before, and then basically able to loop that piece round. I have, although the actual gating on the McLaughlin DSP amps and the Kiesel is really good, I do have this cock blocker as well, because sometimes I just want it extra like choppy and clean. So I have that noise gate on, and then what we have is have some extra gating going on in the guitars. But we have the bass, right? So if we listen to the bass on its own, right? I'll just sort. I mean, the pitch is great. It's a little bit wobbly. Obviously, it's a guitar that's been pitched down by 12, but I'm using Hypertune, and Hypertune by far is like the best pitch plugin for guitar that like I've ever used. It's like amazing on so many different levels. So I have Hypertune, and what's happening is that's just detuning the whole guitar. But when you detune a guitar, right, it's a guitar, right? There's still, the low end just isn't there. So you need some more low end harmonics. So I use Basement. Basement's a really good plugin. You get it with Plugin Alliance. The reason I use Basement is because it seems to track really well with the pitch. So if I switch it off, that's without. That's with it on. So that's giving me that nice sort of like low end that you'd sort of expect from a bass. And then we've got Parallax. So I'm just using Parallax for the bass sound, just a preset. Tweaked. And that's what you got on the bass. It goes into SSL. Not even using any compression on it, which we could. Keep it tight. But I have got the pre on. Probably doesn't need it. And actually every channel has these filters. And I have a volume on every channel, so if I want things to go louder and quieter, I can do that with automation. So that's like the bass channel. Now the signal's split, and then what I have two McLaughlin Suite plugins. They're not running any of the effects apart from like the distortions and stuff. So I have two of them. An interesting trick is we're trying to get that sort of like stereo width. So there are two different patches. So I've got one which is one of my patches called Brutal, and I've got another one which is called Alive, which is my favorite one for using for lives. And one of them actually has the wide in, but the thing to notice is really these are mono because the hard panned left and right. What the wide's actually doing isn't widening anything, but what it's doing is it's in a really subtle way delaying one side of the signal, so I get more stereo width. In other words, it's sort of creating like a Hass effect. So if I let you hear that, so there's our bass soloed. I'll just solo the guitars. So it's wide, and we've got good separation with the bass. Sounding good. And then, as I say, I've got plenty of gating going on, so it's it sounds tight and choppy, which I really like. And basically, I've just got a version of the bass on its own on this clean channel. So I'm going to listen to that. Okay. Yeah, I really, Savvy, I really enjoy the using the wave stuff. It solves all of my problems. Okay, moving on. So I'm using auxiliaries for all the effects, which we'll come to. So I'm using the grain delay on the McLaughlin Suite. A nice jangly clean sound. And I've gone like really over the top with return track, right. So where are we? Supermassive. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Supermassive by Valhalla. This is a free plugin, and that's what's doing the kind of like massive delay. Reverb. Take a bit of the low end off that. Sounds pretty epic, doesn't it? So that's the Dream channel. So yeah, just McLaughlin Suite, and then the usual stuff, 4K, SSL. One thing is like you might get a bit of low end on the guitar, so I can take a bit of that off with the high pass. So which is really handy because you can do just for high pass, low pass, you can do very quick mixing. So if I take this. I can really clean something up. Yeah, so it's like here. Delete. Keyboard stopped working. So like for something like this, if I just solo it, and then play it, you can just roll off all that thumpy low end. Take a bit of the harsh highs off. But the main thing is that I haven't had to open a plugin to do that. Same with shredding, like, you know, when you're playing a solo, there's like loads of like low end that'll come flying out. We'll just take that off. Half an octave. What am I doing with half an octave savior? Right. Touchland. Alright, so that's the Dream, and then we've just got a few other things. So this is something I've been toying about with. We've got like a So I've got this very nice clean sound. I'm just going to switch that off for now. But just come on. Yeah. Okay. Put something in like that, right? And you can watch this punching out thing work. So what I've got here is I've macroed some of the hyperrig stuff that's really handy, and I can change stuff on the fly. So for example, what we've got is actually none of those are on. So you can hear rather than using the high pass and low pass filters basically on the SSL, the high pass and the low pass on the Kiesel Hyperrig are really well optimized to the guitar sound, and they just take enough off. It doesn't wreck your sound, so. Oh, got on the right one. Here we go. That room's good. I'll just have it very direct. Take the widener off. So stuff's macroed there, and so I have a few of that kind of lined up where things are macroed. So these are all very similar. Now another thing I have, let's just tell you what. I'm gonna get this. Let's just do something like that. All right. So on this one, heavy octave, McLaughlin suite, but I've got Hypertune and it's just set 50-50 dry wet, and I've got a higher octave on top of that just to get that lead popping through. Makes it sound more epic. And then another really interesting one is I've got this, and this is just highly unpredictable, this thing. So what this is it is Neural DSP, and it is the who's this? The Rabea plugin, with everything switched off, and I'm only using the synth. So it's like a little synth patch I plugged in for the program for the guitar. That's running into the McLaughlin suite live, and then I've got like a gate lab on it. So what happens is if I run this. Getting confused. Okay, I'm in here. So you can just go a bit crazy with that. Put that maybe on its own thing. And that's it. And that's the majority of my templates so far. It does get some other stuff to have a look at, which we can have a look at now. Right. So, I've got some synth stuff here. So there's a very basic sort of synth template that I have, where we can kind of splurge stuff out. So I've got like my keyboard's just running out of battery power. We'll have basically the Juno 101, sorry, Juno 106. I'll try and make something interesting on here. Okay. Oh, maybe that. Okay. Take that bass out. Doesn't sound very synth-wavy, that. That sounds synth-wavy. That sounds quite synth-wavy. That sounds very synth-wavy. If we do that. We'll just mess about with some bass notes, and then I'll show you what these are. Okay, not very bassy though, is it? Well, we could do something Lydian. So one interesting thing about this, I'll just put this guitar down a second. Is the choice of synth. So I really like the 101, SH101 by Roland, but this is actually made by Tal, an emulation. And it's all sliders, so it's like super easy to use. So I can just dial, rather than looking for presets, I can just dial in what the sound is I want, you know. And there you go, that's all it took. Maybe some bit of this for a bit of flavour. We can probably mix and match here. Wonder what happens if I put... Yeah, so basically, there's the template so far. Any questions? Does anybody want to ask me anything about this? As you can see, it's pretty easy just to kind of quickly knock a track out. Hi, Oxenic, how you doing? So anybody who, Oxenic, if you would like to, could you subscribe to my YouTube channel? It's just Tim Hutch. It should get you there. It'd be great if you gave me a sub, that would be brilliant. And anybody else who's watching this, you know, if I can have if you can basically follow me, that would be brilliant. If you subscribe. Yeah, it's just if you go on Tim Hutch, it's just that. Oh, hold on. It's just type in Tim Hutch, and that'll get you there. As in Tim Hutch there, and you will see me. Thank you. Do I have snap? No, there's no snapping going on. Just whatever it is goes in. It's just you gotta play in time. Yeah, I mean, because I produced house for so long, there are certain like swing quantizations that I quite like to play on, which I still use now and then. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like when I'm recording live with the guitars and stuff, it's good. It's got to come from me, you know, because you got your own groove, so why use the computers, you know? And sometimes, like when I'm programming drums, I'll just create my own groove by just moving things backwards and forwards. Saying that, I think these drums are hard. No, these are like, look, you can see some of the notes are off. Nothing's lined up. So it's got a feel, you know. It's got that human feel to it, so it doesn't sound too AI. God, I tell you what, today the time has flown over really, really quick. I have to charge my keyboard. Run out of power. Just check back on the chart. Yeah, so uh, let's push this one off. So honestly, I'm not even on this level. I've never used these programs before, not even close. Self-taught player for 15 years. Love learning theory. Never recorded. Get the hunch. This kind of cues the my prompt for basically join a music. Anybody who's interested in making music, and you just love everything about music, whether it's a hobby or you want to just release tons of music and do something. Coaching is definitely for you, and I'll tell you why. So in the case with T on here, or owner, it's my dyslexia, sorry. Yeah. So for a start, I would never don't. You see, we're all different. We're all on our own level for a start. But what's important, right, is I know, right, everybody who comes on here has an interest in music, right? You already can make music as good as me. All right, with the skills that you've already got, you've actively been engaging, in Tiorona's case, in music for 15 years. You know how music, or you'll have an idea of how you would like your music to sound, and that's all you need. And the rest of it is just in the doing. But the skill is to how you learn and process that data from actually doing, to input back in your process so you evolve as an artist. And that's what being an artist's about. It's not necessarily just studying lots of. I might be reading between the lines here, to your owner, so do correct me. But I've been there in that thing of like, all right, I need to know lots of theory before I do anything. You kind of get into that, but you're not actually creating anything. And the most important thing for us human beings to do is to actually create something, to create music, to express our thoughts and feelings as a metaphor, so we can share this with the world. So making your connection with the world. I mean, like me at the minute, in my career, my making a connection with the world is what I'm doing here, and that is just showing people what my process is and what I'm working on, so you can get some ideas, and also with the hope that people, the aspiration, not hope, that people are going to join coaching groups and take this further for themselves. So, the beliefs that I have, and when I was showing everybody the zones of experience, so the beliefs are that basically I know that you can already make music as good as anybody else. You've already got the skills now to make music as good as anybody else, and you can release music. You can make an income from that music, and also, and the most important one here, right, is that you can make music. You can be creative under any circumstances. All right, we can keep going. Fire, flood, famine, whatever the world's chucking at us, right? Okay, it shouldn't stop our vibe, man. All right. The world's a little bit unsettled at the moment, isn't it? And at the end of the day, don't let it get in the way with what you want to do with your life. That's very important. And everybody should enjoy the part of being a human that's amazing. In fact, there's lots of parts of humans that are amazing, but the one in particular that I enjoy the most is creativity. And for me, I'm a complete advocate of that, and I want everybody to enjoy that, and I want them to enjoy creativity and making music without the unnecessary pain. I know some artists still say my music isn't any good unless it causes me massive pain, and that's fair enough for them, but not everything has to be painful. Okay, let's only feel the pain that an artist needs to feel. Okay, and like all the other stuff, like templates and organization and process and like all these other things, we can dial in so they're in the background and they're automatic, and we don't even know that they're happening, and we can just focus in on the bit that we enjoy and love. And as a music coach, that's where I'm at. That's what I really specialize in, making it easy, right? Easy access to what counts, okay? And what counts is you exploring your musical unique selves, hopefully in flow. It is serious, like What you got to remember is that I do this job. Um, I'm employed by our health service here in the UK to actually do this as a therapeutic musician, and I've done that job for a long, long time, and I've seen amazing things happen. I've seen music transform people, and I'm not talking about people who've already played an instrument. I'm talking about people who haven't not played an instrument, and I've seen them, explore stuff and do things and make the most wonderful music ever. Like, I've sat there in a room and they've played things and recorded things, and I've gone, hold on a minute, how have you thought of that? And that's because they're just free and they're not being judgmental of themselves. They've found something and they're exploring it, and that's how we need to be. When we're learning too much theory and stuff like that, it can add, it can be a prison for us if we're not careful. So, we just want to be wonderfully free in our creativity and do what we want to do. But, I've seen time and time again, all right, this belief being proved that basically we can all make great music. And I've heard wonderfully interesting, amazing music. Yeah, and I mean, like, people love music. People want to hear music, and people want to hear unique and interesting music that resonates with them. It's and being able to make music's just a wonderful. Being able to have that musical world is just great for your mental health. It's just an amazing place to go, shut off, especially if you're in flow. I mean, I was talking about flow practice. Just think about it. There's no past and there's no future. You're just embodied in the moment, It's like meditation, but more fun. But as I say, because I've got to. I always forget about advertising my coaching business. I'll go bankrupt. No, I won't. If you want to sit here in front of, if you want to, so in the coaching group, just to be like clear, in the regular coaching group, not GoPro or the one-to-one, this is what I do is, I help you set a template up that's about you, not copying my template, about you getting a template yourself together of possible things that you're going to try out, and then in the session trying it out and then feedbacking to me what happened, and then I coach you, and then you course correct and you develop your template and you run it again, and you see how you can incrementally get better and better and better, and your music will improve just actually in half an hour. So that's like one of the many things that happens. And then there's like lots of little like sort of music games that we play, which help you write music. So you're writing your own music in these sessions. You're not doing exercises as such of music that you're not going to use. You're working on music that you're potentially going to release. The reason I call exercises games is because it sounds fun. Who wants to do an exercise, right? I want to have fun, so we'll play games. But that doesn't mean they're a game that you throw away and then do your own thing after the session. Not at all. These are processes which basically you will take with you and use whenever you're making music. In fact, what actually happens to people who've really got on well with the coaching, which is pretty much everybody actually. I've never had to refund anybody yet. But you just become one of those really insightful producers that have always got a way to solve a problem, a way to move a project forward. You'll get that, and of course you'll make tons of music. Ask the world for permission to become an afterthought. Oh, maybe not. Music has carried my mental health for years. Of course, I've gone through the same as what many others have gone through, but I understand what you're expressing. That's it. That's great. And like, thank you for sharing that to your owner. That's really good. Music is absolutely brilliant for mental health. I mean, we have an ability to express our innermost thoughts and feelings. As a metaphor, we don't have to disclose any particular horrible stories, past events that have actually happened to us. We don't have to do that, but we can do it through metaphor. We can do it through our thoughts and feelings, and we can use that as energy, which helps us, and then the world around us just they hear it as something beautiful, and they attach their own stories to that metaphor. So it's an incredibly, it's such a powerful thing, isn't it? And that release of emotion and stuff is just a great feeling, isn't it? You can just kind of put things to bed. And I mean, it totally keeps me saying music. This is why I get up in the morning to do, like, I do music, and I do my music, and I do my music session, because it absolutely stabilizes me through the day. I'm not a frustrated artist waiting to get home to then start my musical life after I'm absolutely tired. I get up in the morning and I do it now. And the reason I do it is because it's important to me. And like at the minute, because I've done that much music, I'm just really like, I never ever intended on doing anything like this. Really I should be making content and not lives, but I just love doing the lives. I love having people on here to chat to. I love the kind of dynamic thing that happens, and like anything can happen, and it's just responding to that and just giving out a positive message is it's a great feeling for me. But like when I think back, God, my earlier lives, I just had no idea what I was doing. Oh God, they're terrible. I was getting up and sitting in my pajamas with just a webcam in a red room. Look, they're shocking. They'll be there though. I've left them all up. I don't think I was even shredding or playing guitar at that point. And then there was the guitar ones, and then there was plenty of awful ones, and you can see how over time it's kind of the look and everything in me, how it's all improved. Are they still holding those? No, probably nobody will ever watch them. I mean, with a lot of the lives now, I just unlist them, because it doesn't really help the channel. Because what happens is, they're like an hour long, and then people just go on and scan through it and then switch it off, which means then the algorithm recommends it as a crap video. So I'll just unlist things, and the people who know it's there can watch it, or I'll leave them listed for a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. So, any final questions? I think I better check. I think I'm going live with Thomas on Saturday, but I'll have to double check on that because I forgot to speak to him about it. And I don't know where he is, so I'll give him a shout. And I'll see you on the next live, which is Monday. So, if you're interested in coaching, or if you're interested in maybe a guitar lesson, then that's the email. And what you can do is, for the coaching thing, what you have to do is you need to do like a half an hour Zoom call with me before I even let you on, because I need to find out like kind of where you're at with your music career and just do a little bit of a diagnostic. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? I need to do the diagnostics on you to see where you're at. Hi, Stelly. And then if you're interested and you like what it's all about, then feel free to join. And there's Stelly. It's great to see Stelly. I hope you're well, Stelly. I hope you're all right. But it's great seeing you on here. So I'll just finish a bit more of my coffee before I go for my morning walk, which is part of my routine. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do on Monday. So anybody, if you're not on the Discord, go on the Discord. People who are on the Discord, who are on here now, have a think about what you would like to happen on one of these live shows, and I can dedicate the show to any theme or topic, music related, of course. Wind that you would like. You know. But yes, Stelly, I hope everything is going good, your end of things, and you're making a bit of music and all that kind of stuff, and not trying out too many plugins. That's it. Where's Tim? God damn it. I mean, the thing is, I was in coach training. That's where I was. I don't think there's not that many music coaches out there. There's Mike Monday who coached me. There's me, and there's another guy called Keith Mills, who I think is also trained by Mike. So it's an interesting one. It's not, and it's probably not that popular because it's not that kind of sexy, is it? Because I'm not talking about how to use a plugin or how to bake a kick drum or how to do stuff. I'm not telling anybody how to solve problems that they might experience. I'm getting people to solve the problems that they're experiencing. So it's kind of coming from you, but it's the way that kind of coaching works is you make your decisions based on my questioning. For me, showing you something that you then do that gives you insight into your process. And that's why it's super powerful. I mean, coaching should be in schools, really, shouldn't it? I mean, so like 6 months of me being coach, my career, my original music making career drastically changed, like big style. I had really good publishing. I ended up with really good management. I was like releasing stuff on pretty good labels. Like it all kind of came together within sort of a 6 month period. It was good. And later on down the line, we've got McRockland and Hutch. You haven't tried a new plugin in months now. Oh, Stelly, I've been enjoying the Safari plugins. So I don't know if you've seen any of those shows, but like there's like the Dirty Dog, like, which is this lethal combination of distortion and reverb. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I talked about school and being dyslexic. Like me not being a musician wasn't like it was non-negotiable. I mean, I've been lucky because I've always had a job of music that's been super creative. Yeah, they are really good. I mean, real plugin gurus probably think, ugh, fakery. But honestly, like, to solve a few jobs that I wanted to do was absolutely brilliant. Gorilla Drive, I really like that on my SH101 bass. Plonking the Safari channel camel strip just on my drum bus, just like really made it kind of more detailed and pop out, and separation around the kick, just with everything set to like 0 and just the default EQ curve, like made things like good. It's all down to your ear though, isn't it? Really like the reverbs that they've got. Great, and they're pretty much 0 latency as well. And you know, like when you open them up and they make you feel happy, like sometimes too much SSL's not good for you. Looking at grey all the time. just having something that's ridiculously like colored in with fun graphics on it is good. Yeah, so if there's anything you want me to cover, music production, guitar, anything like that, just let me know in Discord. Yeah, too many plugins. Reverb's the thing that I'm not bothered about now. I did like the last track I did with Sharon, the Magnador, like on her lead vocals, I didn't use reverb, but I wanted something, you know, like when you just have like one vocal, but you need something going on in the stereo spectrum. So you've got delay, but I needed something else just to fill the vocal out. And I just used Greenhouse by that mixer guy. I should know his name because he's really good. He's won loads of Grammys. So he's got his own plugin company. He's got this thing called Green Hass, and I just used that, which is like Hass effect, and it just filled the outsides in a really cool way. Crossing the Rubicon, the human Is this what I'm talking about next week? Crossing the Rubicon, the human abstract. I'm going to make a note of that. I'll figure something out. Right. Oh, hold on. I wish my keyboard worked. I'll see. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to head off now. I've just been summoned. So I'll see everybody hopefully Saturday evening. If not, it's going to be Monday morning. All right, take care and bye for now.